Off the Hook, airing on offthehooksports.com, your home for real news, real opinions, and what really matters about Tennessee athletics. The Off the Hook podcast at offthehooksports.com or Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or wherever you go for your favorite podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, iHeart. Like, share, follow, subscribe. Off the Hook with Dave Hooker starts now. He's available wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
Blowing Amanda away. Sorry. So, good morning, Amanda. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Zero idea what day it is.
Okay.
With the rest week, with the Thursday game, and then even the first week or two of football season, I'm always confused what day it is. Wake up, do what I'm supposed to do, hopefully, and then kind of go from there. Obviously, fixing my collar, if you're watching on YouTube, is not one of the things that I got done today. So, here we go. Big show on tap today as we're going to visit with John Adams of the Knoxville News Sentinel. Also, we've got coming up some news about John Gruden. That's right, groomers. Tennessee is 1 day away from their opener. We'll continue to take a look at that. And also, we'll talk about that Jimmy Garoppolo situation, which is interesting, and the SEC, how they handle off-the-field issues as far as punitive damage or punitive actions, we shall see. All right, so here we go. Up and rolling. Amanda LaFrada and several things we want to get to. It's the Down and Dirty at 30 as we start each day at 8:30 a.m., brought to you in part by our good friends at Bassey Lawn and Garden. Bassey Lawn and Garden, man alive, it is worth the drive. Thank you for joining us. We would love it if you would punch that like button and go ahead and tell you what, go ahead and subscribe. We appreciate that. Doing some analytic looks the past couple of days, about 80% of our audience is not subscribed. So please subscribe. We want you to do that. All right, the Down and Dirty at 30. We get rolling here. And Tennessee, a 1 day away from playing Ball State. And Amanda, I was asking John Adams yesterday, and I've asked some other people, when has the optimism for Tennessee been at an all-time high? In my lifetime, I would say heading into a season, it was probably the highest was 97 because it was Peyton Manning's senior year. Now, that was quickly over, like within 2.5 weeks because they didn't beat Florida. But that was probably in my lifetime the most excited, anticipated season that I can remember as far as the Tennessee fan base. This, to me, is a close second. For different reasons, you've been in drudgery. You don't really have a Heisman candidate, kind of. But you did with Peyton Manning. You don't now. That's a better team. But still, I just am blown away by the amount of optimism. Hope Tennessee doesn't fall on their face. It's always a possibility. But I don't think it's going to happen. Now, man, I can't recall. How long have you lived in Knoxville? Most of your life, right?
No, since 2006.
Okay.
So, yes. Oh, dang.
She moved when she was 4 years old, ladies and gentlemen. So
I went to UT in 2006. So
yes, at 4 years old. So Amanda, I can't remember. Now John brought up 2016. That would have been Butch Jones. Is that the one you were going to say? You're shaking your head. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I think that's the one where they beat Florida.
Right, and everybody thought Butch was kind of the guy, and then we quickly realized he wasn't the guy.
I agree with that sentiment. 2014 was pretty hyped. I know that because I wrote about it back then. But I remember a lot of people were really excited about 2014. And then that kind of went downhill.
Yeah, and it has gone downhill for Tennessee more times than not over the past 12 years or so. So, I mean, it could happen. It just doesn't feel like that. Perhaps it could one day, but it doesn't feel like that now. But as far as expectations, what will make Tennessee fans happy? We've kicked around the 8 or 9. I think 9 would make them happy. I think pushing 10 would be significant. All right, the down and dirty at 30. So an interesting column, I thought, by Keith Farner. The postseason bans may be a thing of the past once the NCAA adopts several significant modifications to the infractions process. And this could affect Tennessee because they have received their notice of allegations from the NCAA. Could affect Tennessee. I don't think we're talking about any sort of postseason ban. I don't think it's anywhere in play, but the postseason ban would pretty much be taken away. The idea is to punish the people that have done the wrong thing. And I don't know that by punishing, especially in the case of, like, say, Jeremy Pruitt, a postseason ban punishes the people that were wrong. He's gone. I don't know that.
Who is, like, what? Like, punishing kids? This doesn't make any sense. Who's punished in the postseason? I mean, I guess the financial punishment's there, but not really.
No, there is no financial punishment for not going to a bowl game. They break even to go to the biggest bowl games.
You get a certain amount of money for being in the SEC and the SEC going to so many bowl games. There's different amounts that the conference receives, and then they split it accordingly. So
are you implying that this is a financial move by the SEC?
Well, I mean, maybe, but
I hadn't thought of that perspective.
Would it be a financial issue? Like, would you take away the postseason financial contribution but winnings that Tennessee would have received if just being by a part of the SEC? Do they take that away from Tennessee? And if they do, where does it go?
I believe the way that it's still divvied up evenly amongst the teams, or Vanderbilt wouldn't get all money.
Correct.
So I don't think you take it away, but I wouldn't have a problem with that if the bowl ban were still in place. But it looks like that's going away.
But I'm saying what would be the reason to have a postseason ban if not for financials?
I'll give you a total hypothetical. Okay, I'm not saying this is going to happen. Kirby Smart gets caught. Okay, here's a good one. Bruce Pearl got caught cheating, and the university tried as hard as they could to stick with him, and the SEC came down with a regular season suspension. So there's a prime example. So if you let's say Kirby Smart was involved in some sort of off-season recruiting scandal, and Georgia said Kirby Smart's the next Nick Saban, can't let him go, and they stick with him, then that's kind of different than the break with Jeremy Pruitt. So I think that's what they're telling the schools.
No, I mean, I get that. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying what I don't understand from the past is if you're banning like people from postseason, what damage did that ever really do?
What did it? Oh, great question. What did it do to the university? Do you want me to give you a coach's answer or the real answer?
The real answer. Did they take the financials away? Like, what did they? Nothing. Essentially,
not much. Nothing or not much. Today's tough question is, what does a postseason ban do? Nothing or not much. Probably either would be fine. So it really doesn't do much to the university at all. A coach's answer would be, hey, I get 2 more weeks of practice with my guys and I get to take them. And there is some exposure for the university. But ultimately, does a Music City Bowl make or break your program?
No. I mean, it would almost, I feel like, help you not to go to a bowl game because like the players that don't want to play won't have to make that choice. They won't have to say, oh, I'm not playing. I'm sitting out because of the NFL prospects. I mean, and then you won't have to go to a big city like Nashville and worry about what your players are doing at 2:00 in the morning.
Okay. Again, coach's answer, not Dave's answer. I don't get my 2.5 weeks of NCAA sanctioned practice.
What do you don't need it? What's the point?
It's weak. It's a weak argument because these guys do almost as much in summer workouts and off-season workouts as they do camp. There's just not full pads. So it's hard for me to imagine that they're just going to sit on the couch and watch bowl games all December if there's a postseason ban.
No, it'll be voluntary practice or voluntary workouts, which means it's not voluntary. It's involuntary. If you're not there, you're not going to make the team. That's what voluntary means.
Exactly. Hit like and subscribe on this channel. We greatly appreciate it. Tell a friend, share. And John says 96 was more hype than 97 because the 97 hype was dampened by the lack of a UF win. 96 was super hype because we finished 11-1 and only lost due to an epic second half collapse. 96 was more hyped in my opinion. Tomato.
Some argument.
Yeah.
Argument.
Yeah, I mean, you had the Florida game at home, and that was really the linchpin of the season. So, yeah, I mean, I think you could make that argument.
Well, I mean, this season I think is a lot more hype. And going back to that, there's a few things I wanted to comment on. The hype around Josh Heupel is way more than it was with Butch Jones. I mean, there was literally none with Derek Dooley, like literally none. Jeremy Pruitt, everybody thought he was a smart hire at the time. And people say, I didn't like him. Well, go back and look at how many people were just gung-ho about him because there's a bunch of you. There were a bunch of you that were very excited about him, considering what, Dan Mullen had done and Jimbo Fisher had done. And at that time, everyone was real on the let's get a Nick Saban coordinator train. I mean, everybody was. So, but Heupel is a coach. He is a he's not a used car salesman. He is not any of that. He is a coach. Brass tacks coach. And the players know it. The fans know it. The opposing fans and coaches know it. That's why a lot of us don't like him. I mean, honestly, I think he is probably second or third in the SEC as far as coaches go. And I know people will say, from what?
From an X's and O's standpoint or all around?
All around. And I know people will say, oh, he's not as good as Jimbo Fisher or Brian Kelly, or people will have an argument with that, or Kirby Smart. I think he's probably honestly better than Kirby Smart just because Kirby is a defensive-minded coach, and I know that Nick Saban is as well, but you can't replace the titles that Nick Saban has. You just can't. Okay, so I think Heupel's better.
So obviously you're projecting because Jimbo Fisher has won a national title.
Right.
Then you have Brian Kelly. Yeah. And then you have Brian Kelly who made it to the playoffs.
Got smoked.
Still the best quote ever. How can you come out and do better in the second half? Alabama not show up. That was still the greatest line in the history of halftime.
It's just honest.
But as far as projecting ahead, you think Heupel will have as much success or more than any of those guys?
I don't know if he'll have. I mean, I think he'll have as much success with as like Brian Kelly. I don't know if he'll win a national title at Tennessee. I mean, I know Tennessee fans hope that he will. I don't know if he necessarily will win that, but I know he's an offensive-minded guy. So being that way and the way the trajectory of college football is going, I believe you would want an offensive-minded guy leading the charge versus a defensive-minded guy, because the defensive-minded guys are struggling to keep up with the times. I'm not going to lie. They're struggling to keep up with the times because they've never seen prolific offenses like this before. I mean, nobody has. Unless you're in the Big 12 and you were Baylor against, Texas Tech or something, and y'all are just throwing bombs downfield, left, right, and center, then you haven't seen this. I remember watching, Big 12, Pac-12 games and just going, okay, well, everyone scored a bunch of points. There's 120 points on the board. There's no defense whatsoever in this game. Zero. I just think that Heupel is an offensive-minded guy. That's where the sport is going. And I believe that he has the ability and the players that want to play for him. They want to play for him.
Agree. No, I agree with all that. Does that mean he has more success moving forward than Kirby Smart or Jimbo or Brian Kelly or Jimbo Fisher?
I don't count Jimbo Fisher's win. A, you won it with Jameis Winston.
Special.
That's the only reason. And B, you beat Auburn. And that's it. And that was the year that Auburn had like the gods above, or not gods, but angels above, raining down and helping them catch random passes that bounced off of Georgia defenders and all of that stuff. No, nope. Hard pass.
I can roll with that. I didn't think there was a dominant team like we've seen from the Alabamas and the Georgias in recent years. Or if you want to go back to even Miami of the mid 2000s, or you want to go, we can go further back to the Nebraskas of the 90s. Now, as much as Tennessee fans have been through, let me tell you how it could have been worse. Please, again, punch that like button and hit subscribe. But let me tell you how it could have been worse. Former Las Vegas Raiders coach John Gruden has broken his silence. He has publicly addressed the email controversy that cost him his job in October. So Gruden, who is now 59 somehow, said he was going to be honest with the gathering. He said, quote, "I'm ashamed of what has come about in these emails, and I'll make no excuses for it. It's shameful, but I am a good person. I believe that. I believe that. I go to church. I've been married for 31 years. I've got 3 great boys. I still love football. I've made some mistakes, but I don't think anybody in here hasn't. And I just ask for forgiveness, hopefully, to get another shot."
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When you apologize, you don't throw out a million different reasons why you're a good dude. A. But B, will he at 59 years old get another shot? So everybody wanted him to be Tennessee's head coach.
Yes, I think he will.
I think he will too. Now, I think it'll be kind of like that. I think it'll be a lower level school. If he really loves ball, I don't think John Gruden loves ball as much as he says. I think he loves being around ball. I think he likes making $10 million a year, whatever he made, for being a broadcaster. I don't know that he necessarily loves ball and loves football. I don't know that. So I think if he were totally honest, he'd say, "I'd love to get another gig in broadcasting," but he's not going to say that. And then one other thing that I wanted to touch base on: 2 DUI arrests, 2 different responses. This by Matt Hayes of Saturday Down South, who I think does a great job. You have Kentucky announcing Monday that suspended all SEC running back Chris Rodriguez for the season opener, and Mark Stoops. That Rodriguez could be among a number of players who will receive multiple game suspensions. Now, you have Alabama defensive coordinator Pete Golding, who was arrested this offseason charged with driving under the influence. I'm not going to get into the particulars of either, but it does illustrate to me, Amanda, the fact that there needs to be some sort of governing body within the SEC, because we know the NCAA can't do it, that doles out whatever punishments they feel like these people deserve. Because you have a vested interest as a school with a player or coach. You want him there on game days. So I'm not picking on Pete Golding. I'm not picking on Alabama. I am saying at the core issue, you need somebody, Amanda, to make some of these decisions that isn't wearing the team colors.
I don't know how you can. That's going to be an issue. I don't know how you can do that and not legally be.
I'm sorry, Trevor just said, "Dear Lord, don't let that government body be the feds."
Yeah, seriously. I don't know how you can and not have it be some kind of legal issue in the courts, considering that these people, if it's a DUI or DWI, whatever these kids are doing nowadays, if it's that,
we're settled on that connector, did we? Under or with?
I don't know what it means. I feel like DUI is alcohol, DWI is like another drug. That's just how I feel.
Fair enough.
If it is one of those things, then that's in the hands of the law. And I guess if it's in the hands of the law, it's up to the individual university or schools to dole out the punishment they see fit, because that is, if you're a coach, that is a member of your staff. Now, how many jobs do you know that if you get a DUI, and not the ones not that you're driving or whatever, like not a truck driver, you have to drive. How many jobs really punish their employees if they get a DUI, unless they miss time because they're in jail?
Well,
other than that, how many do that? How many really go after their employees for getting a DUI?
Well, I'm the wrong person to ask. Being in the public eye, everyone except for my digital marketing team. So yeah, I think it would have affected me, but that's kind of different. Most people that go to work, you could probably call in. I don't know, if you get a DUI on your way to work and you miss a shift, maybe you're in trouble.
That's a problem. Whole different problem.
Yeah, right. But if you just get your DUI on a Saturday night and you don't work until Monday and you get out of the Gray Bar Hotel Sunday morning, does anybody know about it?
Probably not. So with that being said, I think it's up to the individual employer. And if the employer is the University of Alabama and Pete Golding's, I don't care if you want to throw Pete Golding under the bus. I don't care. Go ahead. Don't bother me.
Well, no, I do find it interesting the way you said that, because it is different. Like I used to get in an argument with somebody on radio who you would know, who you don't like. But I always used to say the NFL is not 32 businesses. The NFL is one business, like a bank with 32 branches. That's not exactly the same scenario in college football. So
no, it's
it made me
different. They're all different businesses and all different, they don't, not every solution, as we've seen with the NIL and paying the players and recruiting, not every solution fits every single business, as in every single university. It just doesn't.
Daniel said, what do y'all think about the record this season? I have an official prediction column, but I think I've said it enough where everybody knows. I think Tennessee wins 9. Amanda, I think you've said 9 as well, correct?
You said 9 with an upset, like a surprise win, and then maybe one of those games, the ones that would ride the line, could go either way, dropping one of those. But beating Georgia, I'm still going to stick with the beating Georgia. I don't care. Call me crazy, whatever. Beating Georgia. You don't rebuild an entire defense.
You won't be crazy if you go with the Bees, not the Bucks. Why is Honeybee's coffee so simply awesome, Amanda Lafrada?
Because it's just good. I mean, it's without everything else that we talk about, without the 5%, of beans in the world, without the veteran owned, without the locally owned, it's just good coffee. That's it. Like the difference between like a cup of coffee at a gas station and a cup of coffee at like a coffee house. There's a difference. Honeybee is just good coffee.
It's incredible. I mean, I'm not a coffee drinker, and Amanda and I sat down and I counted out 3 cups. It is time for today's tough question, brought to you.
Did you sleep?
Did I sleep that day? You know what's funny? I was thinking about that when we were talking about honeybees the other day. I actually slept better that night than my usual caffeine IV of Coke Zero. I don't know if it's just a cleaner. I'm sure it's a cleaner
product. Less chemical.
Yeah, less chemical. I actually, just free plug. I mean, I slept better that night after 3 cups of coffee. I think our meeting was like 2:00 in the afternoon, somewhere in there. And I usually don't have caffeine after 3. I slept better that night, 3 cups of coffee in the afternoon, than I slept in a while. So it's fantastic coffee. Pedigo Chattanooga will bring you today's tough question, a locally owned store where you'll be treated like family. It's the region's foremost electric bike experts that put their hearts into helping you find the perfect electric bike and get the most out of it for many years to come. Pedigo Electric Bike in Chattanooga. It is time for today's tough question. Interested as always to see which direction that Amanda will go. Today's tough question brought to you by Pedigo Chattanooga.
We do our research. Have you done your research?
We're working like heck.
Today's tough question. What's the real debate?
You sipping my Supe Guadalupe?
Exclusively on Off the Hook Sports with Dave Hooker and Amanda LaFrada.
You drinking my sake, Kimosabi?
Oh my God.
John says he lives in North Georgia and has dog fan in-laws.
Did
And
they bark at you?
John, do they bark at you?
Please, dear God.
Says I want to beat Georgia every single year. Well, John, this may happen. Amanda's preaching to the choir here. So click the like and subscribe button. Today's tough question. He said, "Oh yes, they do."
God bless you, man. I don't know.
John, let me ask you this: if you click the subscribe button and told 10 friends, Amanda gets into today's tough question.
What? That doesn't. No, that's not. That has nothing to do with Georgia fans. But no,
Trevor
God bless
said-
you.
Oh, I had nothing to do with Georgia fans. Throwing naughty. Trevor said, "Same here, John. I'm in Dalton. All of my family went there except me." I'll tell you what I get. My time when I spend in Chattanooga is I get an awful lot of Georgia fans that weren't wearing red a couple years ago, or even like last summer. But anyway, today's tough question is: John says he subscribed and telling a lot of people. John, go ahead and I'll tell you what. I'll put my email in there, and I'll hook you up with a T-shirt. How about that? All right, Amanda, what do we got going on for today's tough?
So, I'm gonna say, how successful do you feel like Josh Heupel will be at Tennessee? As successful as Jimbo Fisher at FSU? As successful as whoever?
I love that. That's saucy. Roll with that. Okay, so what are our options again?
So, how successful do you think Josh Heupel will be at Tennessee? I'm going to do the Nick Saban. Just got to throw one out there. Alabama is successful. Or Brian Kelly successful.
Sam's saying, not to interrupt you, but Sam's saying some will go crazy and threaten players and other stuff. Are we talking about Georgia? We're threatening players? Wow.
I'm pretty sure they're all bark and no bite there, Sam.
Whoa. Amanda's throwing heat this morning. I will say this, because I always dressed in neutral colors when I covered the game. There was something fun about seeing Georgia fans sneak up behind another fan base and bark at them and scare the bejesus out of them.
No, it's not fun.
It's fun it's fun to watch one time. And
You
then
get shot for that. People get shot for less. If you sneak up behind me and scare the bejesus out of me, I'm swinging. I don't even care. I will swing on you. I will swing. Keep your barks to yourself. I don't need you barking at me. I have a dog. I don't need other dogs.
Fair enough.
Stay in your lane.
Fair enough.
I have an issue with Georgia because I went to a game, a Tennessee-Georgia game, and I wore neutral colors because obviously I wasn't a fan of either team. Just wasn't. So I wore like a white shirt and blue jeans, and that's all I wore. I got cussed out. People barked at me you look like idiots.
Treat you like that? That's not right.
I just have RBF hard, and everyone knows that, so it's fine. But just acted like absolute idiots. Just doesn't, like, it was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. They held up signs that said, and I'm not even kidding you, and this is going to sound horrible. They held up a sign that said, "It's not rape if they volunteer."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, at Georgia. Horrible.
Apparently somebody agrees with you. Athens is the drunk capital of the world. What was that acronym you used a second ago?
RBF.
What does that mean? Is that a bad word?
Resting bee face.
Okay, maybe I'll figure that out.
Resting female dog face.
Okay. All right, I got you. All right, so today's tough question is, and I'll tell you where else.
All right, so how successful do you think Josh Heupel will be at Tennessee? So I guess I should say, what level of success do you think Josh Heupel will have at Tennessee?
So Jimbo, Brian. Okay, Jimbo. How about Jimbo, Brian, Kirby, Smart?
Did that already? That's my things.
I mean, how about Nick Saban? I mean,
he's in there too.
Okay, so those are the four.
Those are the four.
I'm gonna go Brian Kelly. I'm not gonna overcommit. So right now I'll go Brian Kelly, but you might change my mind. Jason said it'll be nice if the team shuts down the Nega Balls on the field with success, but the fans think we're going 10-2 and then call for firing the coach. We don't get there. They're the problem.
Stop it.
I don't think so.
Stop it, Tennessee fans. Stop trying to fire every coach.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I think you're golden here. I don't sense that really at all. Back in 2 minutes, hit that like and subscribe button. Tell us about Big Orange Philly, Mr. Files.
Files here. I want to personally invite you to North Knoxville's newest sports bar and restaurant. It's Big Orange Phillies, located in Black Oak Center. And yes, folks, it's happening in Halls. Big Orange Phillies offers family-friendly environment with homemade meals and the best deli-style subs around. Billiards, darts, jukebox, shuffleboard, and cornhole, and a full bar. We also offer valet parking on weekends and during special events. We even have a covered back patio. It's happening at Big Orange Phillies. We want, we need, and we appreciate your business.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
Dare to compare.
This is Al's Nest Barbecue Supply, so come on in and see all the different rubs and sauces we have, plus a complete line of Green Mountain grills. Don't be overwhelmed. We have plenty of help so you can produce the best barbecue and amaze your family and friends. Barbecue is America's food. We'll do what we can to bring you all the best products. We're Al's Nest Barbecue, where Chattanooga goes to grill.
Do you want to own the more that owns every job? Then get to Vassey Lawn and Garden in Cleveland and get you a Toro. I'm David Vassey, here to talk to you about Toro. With a Toro Zero Turn, you'll get more out of every minute and you'll reach the finish line faster. At Vassey's, we like to say, no matter if you're mowing 3 acres a week or 11 lawns a day, homeowners and business owners alike find confidence in equipment they can trust from top to bottom.
Vassey Lawn and Garden, Highway 60 North in Cleveland.
Man alive, it's worth the drive.
So I got to be honest with you, I struggle a little bit with how to even kind of address this issue because it's serious and it's playing out on national TV every Saturday morning.
I'm struggling to hear you.
I'm sorry. How about that? The better?
There you go. Yes.
I was looking away at my computer. So be sure and hit that like and subscribe button. We want to be a part of your day. We air every day at 8:30. Amanda, the Lee Corso situation, I thought Ryan Brown had a fantastic column on it on Barrett Sports Media, which they started as just covering radio stations, and now it's branched out, and it's kind of trended towards sports a little bit more than other formats. But nevertheless, it's kind of an industry insider sort of thing, and he's written stories about how everything is going digital, and obviously we believe that. And those are great columns, but he kind of ventured off a little bit, and he wrote about Lee Corso, that Lee Corso deserves to be able to say, it's time. I'm walking away. Amanda, he really struggled with Saturday. And it would be easy for us to jump on here and be Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith and say, he's got to go, he's got to go. That's the easy.
They got to go.
Yeah. That's the easy take, right? So it was I'm not even talking about from a viewership perspective. It was painful that I hurt for the man, literally hurt for the man and his family. I'm sure you've seen clips. It was week 0. Not a lot of people were watching, but how do you handle this situation if you're ESPN? Because he really struggled. I would be stunned if this wasn't his last year, but I said that going into 2021 as well. How would you?
So this is this is a delicate situation.
Hard.
I mean, it is a very delicate situation. However, there's something to being said that people live for something. They live for doing something. And this could very well be what is keeping Corso going. I mean, is he at his best? No, but it's a tradition. I don't think you can push him out if you're ESPN. I mean, if you're ESPN, you could push anybody out because you normally do, and you look like an idiot anyway, and that's why your ratings are going downhill fast. But anyway, I digress. Joe Paterno, he coached up until literally they pushed him out and he died. And I understand the whole, we're not going into that of why he got pushed out or why, if he should have or if he shouldn't have, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going into that, but I'm just using it as an example of he coached and as soon as he stopped, he died. Coach Paul Bear Bryant, same thing. He died within 28 days of him stopping coaching. Lee Corso, I feel like this might be that kind of thing where this is what he lives for. This is what keeps him going. And when it's done, he's done.
You literally, when you said that, sent chills down my spine. My aunt and uncle were big Alabama fans. And I remember where I was. Obviously, they weren't looking at their phone. I don't know how they found out, but I remember they said, "Hey, did you hear Paul Bear Bryant died?" And it was 82, so I was like 8 years old. But that's one of
83.
my 83. So I was 9 years old. That's one of my first memories. And I remember the fourth step. I ended up buying that house, and I remember sitting there thinking, "That's a big deal." I'm 9 years old, and I probably haven't sat through a whole football game yet. But I knew that was a big deal. So when you said that, I literally got chills down my spine. And I think it's the same thing. I hope if he retires, but I think you're right. I think that once he's done with that show and he doesn't have purpose, we've seen it before.
He's heading on down the road because he loves this. If he didn't absolutely love it, he wouldn't be doing it because he's not stupid. He's probably read how many tweets and how many columns of people going, he's past his time, he needs to go, like he's embarrassing himself, yada yada yada. He sees that that's out there, but he loves it. He loves doing this. So as long as he loves doing it and he is happy doing it, and you are not putting him out there like somebody else who's in the White House at the moment, where it's just an embarrassment to everybody because he doesn't know what's going on, then let him do it. Maybe he's not as fast as he used to be, and maybe he struggles, but if he's enjoying it and he's not embarrassed by it, then let him keep doing it. I mean, it's not going to hurt anybody else.
Do you get to the point, though, there's a lot of money at stake, where does it ever get to the point where you're ESPN and you make a business decision? Because what you and I have been talking about are personal decisions, the right moral thing to do. But the business decision probably was to cut him 5 years ago. That sounds awful. But there is a factor of tune-out. Because there are times that I can't understand him. And now you have that Big Ten kickoff show, the Fox kickoff show, that I've gotten nothing but awesome reviews about. I haven't seen it personally, but do you ever make a business decision, I guess is what I'm asking you, if you're ESPN, or you basically say, we're going to let this roll as long as you want it to roll?
if you're ESPN, you've made plenty of bad business decisions. Let's not act like this would be the make or break of ESPN. You've made plenty of those. So if it's a bad business decision to keep him on one more year, to let him go out the way he wants to go out, then do it, because everything else that you've done is horrible for the most part.
Can I play devil's advocate, though? Again, I don't believe what I'm getting ready to tell you. I'm just for conversation's sake. I mean, how bad would it have to get before you would make that decision?
I don't think he would be able to go on the show if it got that bad. Like, I don't think he would be able to physically show up. If it got that bad, he would be able to physically show up. Now, if it was something about cognitive, clearly there's cognitive decline, we see that. But if it's severe cognitive decline to where he doesn't even really know where he is, I don't think it's going to matter to him if he's on the show or not. You know what I mean? I think.
Yeah. Jason saying the problem with Corso is that it is becoming a spectacle. They're using him as a mascot. Is it harming him? Is that even being considered at ESPN? Wow. That is an interesting take, Jason.
See, the reason why I say what I say is because I saw, and I think it was last year actually, where he, and you can look it up, Corso gave a speech on College Game Day that said, I know I'm not as good as I was. I know that I'm not.
And he got emotional, right? I think
he did. And everybody on the panel got emotional. And he said, like, I know I'm not as fast. I know I'm not, basically, I know that I'm in my last days of this. But like, he thanked everyone on the show for sticking by him and for him being there and for them letting him continue to do what he loves. So
yeah, it's a heartbreaking situation all around. I hope they're not using him as a mascot. I feel like they're trying to limit his role. I don't know if we're talking about the same instance, but now it jogged my memory. He at one point said that when he had a stroke, now this is like 7 or 8 years ago, I believe. You might want to fact check me on that. But he had said, if not for College Game Day, when he struggled a lot, and then he got better, and now it seems to be a decline again. And he had said specifically, practically paraphrasing what you just said, if I didn't have this, I wouldn't go on. So it's heartbreaking. And from our fantastic fans, Trevor saying, Trevor had a great run. Okay. I'm not going to get into politics, I never will. But Trevor said, we have a dude running the dang country that is in worse shape, and I'd rather have Lee Corso running the dang country at this point. All right.
Yes, Trevor.
I'm not going down the road, but go for it. Sam says, I don't think ESPN is making him do it. He loves the game and probably wants to go on as long as he can. I think that's true, too. I just think I hate the fact that it's a spectacle. And now maybe this is lost a little bit because it's something to talk about with a quarter of a slate in week 0 for the week after college football. Maybe it's less of a story after this week. I hope, but I don't know. City Heating and Air Conditioning has been your home for HVAC service for over 50 years. City Heating and Air Conditioning has provided East Tennesseans with honest, dependable heating and cooling services. It is awesome. Since 1961, City Heating and Air Conditioning has been the standard of quality for HVAC installation and service, among the best in customer satisfaction, absolutely the best. So check out City Heating and Air Conditioning. I had an opportunity to visit with John Adams of the Knoxville.
John, I want to get right.
John's a little fast. John Adams of the Knoxville News Sentinel. And John's appearance brought to you by Vols Automotive Group and Big Orange Phillies. Let's try that again, hey, John. If I were to paint a beautiful picture of a season opener, you're on Thursday night. You're in year 2. You're playing a lackluster opponent, but the stadium's refurbished, renovated. Really, I mean, Tennessee, the stage could not be set any better to start a season. Am I wrong?
No, it's kind of what you look for in an opening game. I mean, there have been stadium renovations, but also there's an optimistic air about Tennessee football. And no matter what happens in the first game, it probably won't curtail that optimism, unless, of course, Ball State turns into Georgia State and Josh Heupel turns into Jeremy Pruitt. Then you have a massive problem. However, it goes back to Bowling Green last year. Tennessee won handily. Wasn't that impressive in the first half. But fans can excuse that. Fans can say, well, it's the opener, everything's not nailed down, that sort of thing. But I expect Tennessee to really roll and to roll right away because it's got an experienced team. And if it does that, I think fans' excitement will carry over, along with a little trepidation, into the Pittsburgh game, which will be much more competitive.
Yeah, Pitt's a better team than I think a lot of Tennessee fans realize. We're probably better up front on both sides of the ball. But we'll get there. I think Tennessee also benefits from having this mini sort of off week heading into that game. And, like I said, the excitement is at an all-time high. I can't remember heading into a season it being this high, John. Do you recall a season in which optimism was this strong?
Maybe you go back to 2016. Tennessee finished strong in 15 under Butch Jones. Then had a fast start in 2016, so everything gets ramped up. It beats Georgia and Florida, and everybody thinks Butch Jones is going to be the next General Neyland. Didn't quite work out that way. He wasn't even Private Neyland,
but he had the haircut.
Yeah, he would have passed inspection.
Yeah,
he wouldn't have passed anything else, but he would have passed inspection.
No, when Nick Saban said we're only going to pay you $24,000 a year to be an analyst on our staff, he said that's no problem. My haircut cost only $6. So, John, with Tennessee and the optimism around this program, how much of that is pinned on the offense and what they were able to do last year?
Very much so. I don't think anybody looks at Tennessee's defense and says, man, we're really going to shut some teams down this year. I think people expect more of the same. I think that's a very realistic outlook. It might be a little better. Maybe it'll force a few more turnovers, maybe make a few more plays behind the line. But no one looks at this as an uber talented defense. So I think everybody is all in on the offense. You averaged 39.3 points per game last year with modest talent. And so there's an infatuation with this system that Josh Heupel puts out there. We've talked about it before. The guy's a really good offensive coach, and he gets receivers open about as well as anybody in college football today. So when you look at, I think people kind of write off the defense, and then you look at, okay, what are some questions? What would be some things you look for in an opener? Everybody, I think, wants to see how the Southern California transfer Brew McCoy does. He's a big physical receiver, and so that's one of them. And who will be the left offensive tackle? If you want to get a little more inside football, how well will they protect Hendon Hooker? And then it's kind of about, is Hendon Hooker significantly better? Can he hit the deep ball more? I think all the questions are about the offense.
I think if you're a Tennessee fan heading into the Ball State game or heading into the season, you would say, can the defense be a C+? Yes, I will take that right now.
I think they would take a C right now.
I'm not going to argue with you. I tell you who is never a C. They're always A+ when it comes to customer service and integrity. It's Vols Automotive Group. It is car shopping made easy. That's because they have an awesome selection, exceptional cars there on the lot. They are available. I know they're tough to find, but they can do it right there at Vols Automotive Group. They'll take care of your financing, and they'll keep you going with their great car service as well. So, John, I did want to ask you about Herbstreit's notion that NIL is for current players, not for prospects. And Nico Almaleva got pulled into this whole thing because I don't know that it's actually been reported that he took $8 million for 3 years, but nevertheless, John, he got pulled into this. He got quoted in the LA Times. Just your thoughts on where NIL is now, where it will be in 5 years. I don't know that we know.
We have no clue, and the NCAA doesn't, and neither is Kirk Herbstreit. It may be Kirk's lobbying for the NCAA director's job, and he's spouting the party line. But
you'd have to take a pay cut.
Very much so. But I really think with the NIL, yeah, this is what it's intended to do, and that's what every administrator would say. Players come to college. They're able to use their name, image, and likeness to profit off that once they're at a school. But anybody that's followed college football, I mean, these guys are going to cheat every chance they get, and this isn't even cheating. This is in a gray area. So, of course, it's going to become a recruiting lure. How could anybody have looked at this and thought otherwise? There's just no way. Here's the other thing. If you say, yeah, we're going to pay you when you're here at school X, we will reward you. You can profit off this. You can make a lot of money. Well, in the recruiting process, you will wonder, how could that not be a factor in where you sign? You will wonder, well, how much can I make? And so they'll write a number down on a sheet of paper and just leave it there in the living room of the recruit's family. It's just, come on, common sense.
It is why, Amanda, that I thought it was so funny when Tennessee fans got just outraged about Kirk Herbstreit's comments about NIL and including Nico. Amanda, because ultimately if the players show up, prospects show up, and they see players are well taken care of financially, that's where you want to be. If those players are taken care of, if you show up on official visit and they're going to a nice restaurant instead of Taco Bell, I don't know that they give players money to take them out. I get that. But if you see they're living right and they're not driving a beat-up Toyota, they're driving a decent car, then I think that is where Tennessee will benefit from NIL long term. Not just the throwing maybe $8 million at one guy, because that's not sustainable.
Yeah, but if you're 18, like, you're not thinking about the future.
But I'm really not concerned about what you go quite there. I'm really not concerned about what the 18-year-old thinks. I'm talking about the businesses. Like, I don't think you're going to be able to throw vast amounts of money at a prospects, because businesses at some point are going to say this wasn't worth the investment. That is my thinking on the matter, because Nico could be fantastic. Still, is he worth $8 million for 3 years? He could be a 3-year starter and not a superstar. That's a lot of money, $8 million.
Yeah, but the school's not paying it.
Right. I just don't think it. My point is, I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think giving somebody $8 million. Yeah, and that's not going to work. Where NIL helps Tennessee, and this is what I've been preaching, I wrote a column about it. Where NIL helps Tennessee is 5 years from now when those prospects are showing up and they're seeing the kids are taken care of.
That's where it's going to help everybody.
But it helps the power teams more. It helps Tennessee and Alabama and Georgia and Florida more than it helps Kansas.
Well, yeah, because they have more money to throw around.
Right. They're in a bigger city. Well, not Gainesville, but we're talking about. You're talking about either a big program or a big city is the way.
Yes.
Now, obviously, Vanderbilt is not that. They're in Nashville, but still Vanderbilt.
So I think we should say a big program versus a big city, because I think we are.
But I think big city is important, because big city means big corporations that can throw around cash. So that's
not necessarily.
Now
if you are, like you said, Vanderbilt is in the middle of Nashville, but if you are the lead program in your state, then you're going to have the most donors. Like, if you're the biggest program in the state, like Alabama, much bigger than Auburn, as far as donors and stuff go, but they're in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that at all. You either need to be an elite program or be in a big city. And because, listen, Mississippi State could make it to the SEC championship game, and it's still Starkville. There's a limited amount of advertising dollars that are going to be there as compared to a Knoxville. Ultimately, they could have the same success, and I believe there would be more NIL dollars in the bigger market. So that's what Tennessee is. That's what you should be excited about, Tennessee fans, not just necessarily getting Nico. Sam says Tennessee fans love NIL because it puts us on an equal footing with all the Auburn run type programs. Random shot at we take more shots at Auburn per capita than any show in the nation. Is that fair?
They're just sitting ducks, so they're super easy. Or tigers or eagles, or pick a mascot. Pick one. Get one animal.
Okay, speaking of, can you go? Is it possible during the break for you to pull up maybe the funniest thing that our friend Coach Lance has done ever? Are you able to pull that up on your end when they go back and forth between the tiger and the war eagle when they're picking names? And Coach Lance,
I can't pull it up to put it in here. Wait, maybe I can. I'll see if I can do it.
I bet
you. Try to figure that out.
It's hilarious.
I know you can't.
I know you can't. Exactly right. It is hilarious. Big Orange Phillies. Big Orange Phillies in North Knoxville on Maynardville Pike is your home for great food, a family fun environment, and we've got darts, billiards, live entertainment, and karaoke, and you can enjoy Big Orange Phillies this weekend for game week. It is officially here. Absolutely. Trevor, I wouldn't taken a shot at beat up Toyotas. So rather, that's the wasn't the point.
Way to go.
Yeah, I know. Like I'm anti-American or
elitist.
2 minutes back. Amanda's going to make you laugh. Please hit the like and subscribe button. We would greatly appreciate that. Back in 2 minutes.
Viles here, Viles Automotive on Callahan Drive. I've been selling cars here in East Tennessee for 27 years. In that time, I've come to realize it's not about the car. It's about you, the customer. So I'm here to take care of you just like family. Good credit, bad credit, you name it, we can get you taken care of. If we don't have it, we can find it for you. We go across the country to get any vehicle that you want. And here at Viles Automotive, we don't believe in fake numbers. We just give you great deals. And as always, we want, we need, and we appreciate your business.
Do you want to own the more that owns every job? Then get to Vassy Lawn and Garden in Cleveland and get you a Toro. I'm David Vassy, here to talk to you about Toro. With a Toro Zero Turn, you'll get more out of every minute and you'll reach the finish line faster. At Vassy's, we like to say, no matter if you're mowing 3 acres a week or 11 lawns a day, homeowners and business owners alike find confidence in equipment they can trust from top to bottom.
Vassy Lawn and Garden, Highway 60 North in Cleveland.
Man alive, it's worth the drive.
This is Steve Rain. I own the Midnight Oil and Michelin Tire Direct service station here in Ooltewah. It's not a fancy place, never has been, but it's a clean place with clean restrooms and good folks who work here. We sell gas and fix cars, nothing glamorous, but we love what we do, and we're going to keep doing it for a long time to come. There's not many real service stations left, and that's a shame. We're the guys just like the guys back in your hometown. We'll fix your tire, change your oil, and put a new set of Michelins on your car. If you want a Twinkie, you'll just have to keep on going. Thanks for the business.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
Dare to compare.
So I promised to laugh, and I may do my promises. I'll go ahead and tell you that.
Why did you promise a lie?
A laugh. Promised a laugh.
I thought you said a lie.
Promised a lie. That sounds like a name of a book, doesn't it? Or a Poison song.
I don't know.
Break up. Yeah. like a breakup pop of Poison song. Owl's Nest Barbecue, your home for everything you need in barbecue. The pellets, the wood chips, the sauces, the rubs. It's all there at Owl's Nest Barbecue. It is unbelievable. And they've got those Green Mountain grills that I've got my eye on. They are absolutely fantastic. All right. So, Amanda LaFrada, our friend Coach Lance, who will join us tomorrow in our game day edition of Off the Hook Sports with Amanda LaFrada and Dave me. Coach Lance will join us tomorrow, but I wanted to go ahead and get to this because it is absolutely hilarious. So just tell me, as we do live television radio on the fly, do I pull this up on my side or yours? Or do you pull it up?
It's up there. It's
Okay.
up there.
Now, this is
put it in.
Coach Lance, who you've seen on Twitter, who is absolutely hilarious. We love his stuff. We consider him a part of the team. We're looking forward to having him on tomorrow. If you're listening, Coach Lance, I'm sorry I haven't texted you back yet. That is happening. Crazy times. But here is – now, I think – I'm going to be honest with you. I think the Auburn double mascot thing is cool. And I'm in the minority.
You're insane.
You make me insane. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I think the War Eagle is cool in and of itself. I think the Tiger is lame. So if you're Auburn and you had to drop one, which would it be?
I'm not Auburn. I never will be, and I'm not putting myself in that situation. So I wouldn't pick up one.
I think the War Eagle is a super cool SEC tradition. I don't know why or how it started. Maybe I need to do some research. Maybe Coach Lance will.
I know how the War Eagle started.
Okay, teaser. Here's Coach Lance right after this. Amanda explains War Eagle. I don't think we have that playing, Amanda.
What?
I don't think that's playing. I don't know if you can hear it on your end. I cannot hear it.
I can hear it.
Why don't you send me the link and we'll see that if we can pull that up. So how did what are the beginnings?
All you have to do is go on Twitter and find it.
What is the origin of War Eagle?
So it's something I can't remember now. It's something about I can't remember now. I know it, but I can't remember it. I don't know. Let me just find it then. Screw it. We'll just find it.
And then we'll go ahead and pull up Coach Lance's. I'm sure.
Probably just blocked it out of my mind.
Now, have you ever been around one of those eagles?
No.
Now that is cool. You have to admit that, right?
No.
Would you not admit that?
Why do I want a bird flying at me?
In person, they're super cool because they're way bigger than you would think. I've seen the eagle fly around.
Exactly. So what is the point?
Yeah, I'm scared of birds, but I did find the eagle to be pretty.
You are walking like oxymoron, I swear.
Take off the oxy and you nailed me. Trevor said a bird died and crashed onto the field.
That's what it was. Yep.
That's where War Eagle started from?
Love it, don't you?
That's lame. That just took away all the coolness that I thought War Eagle had. So it crashed, a bird died. Completely confused. Today's tough question we asked earlier, while Amanda gives us a better explanation of War Eagle. Hopefully, because I don't understand why a bird dying and falling.
I can read you why.
Okay, I would like that.
Okay. So there are 4 different stories on the Auburn website behind the Eagle tradition that encompasses the Auburn spirit. The first took place in 1892, and the most recent happened in 1913. So it's a tradition that's been around for a long time. There's no proof of where it actually came from. Everyone will give you a different story. However, let me find it down here. I just read it and now I've lost it.
So, the origins of War Eagle.
Is it 1892, the Deep South's oldest rivalry is born as Dr. George Petrie led Auburn to a 10-0 victory over Georgia at Piedmont Park. According to witnesses, the eagle suddenly broke free and began majestically circling the playing field. As the eagle soared, Auburn began a steady march toward the Georgia end zone for a thrilling victory. Elated at their team's play and taking the bird's presence as an omen of success, Auburn students and the fans began to yell "War Eagle" to spur on their team. At the game's end, the eagle took a sudden dive, crashed into the ground, and died.
Trevor said that he was joking about the bird dying, but it actually happened.
Yeah.
It's a good thing it wasn't a pigeon. War pigeon doesn't have the same sort of feel.
Why in the world? That eagle did not want to be a part of anything that y'all had there. It probably had some kind of cognitive disorder and dived into the ground and died. Well, why else would you dive into the ground and die?
Oh, no.
Unless it was the blue from Auburn and it thought it was water.
That happened to Boise, didn't it?
Boise State needs to take that field and shove it. I hate that field. That is the dumbest thing.
Well, before they striped it, birds thought it was actually a lake.
I think it should be illegal to have that.
Well, before they striped it, they would dive into the field. And
yes, you told me that. I still think it should be illegal to have that field. I think that is stupid. I think chrome helmets should be illegal. And I think any color field besides green should be illegal. The end. Unfair advantage on both sides.
How's it unfair advantage to have a blue field?
Because it just looks different. It feels different. It's not the same. It should be standard uniform green field. You're playing on a blue field all of a sudden. I don't think it's normal.
Yeah, kind of like a Vanderbilt deal in basketball. Vanderbilt has benches in the ends instead of sidelines. It's just different, and maybe that is an unfair advantage. I'd thought about it like that. Zool Beer Company is the official craft beer of Off the Hook Sports. Why, Amanda? Because it's darn tasty, and they got ice cream too, but it ain't for the kids.
No, please don't order it for your children. Just don't. Unless you want to win like the worst parent of the year award. Just don't order it for your kids. Please.
No, don't.
It's got alcohol in it.
It's bad.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. But everything else there at Zool Beer is absolutely fantastic. It is right there in downtown Knoxville. Great panoramic view where you were able to see a lot of downtown. Great parking too. It's something we don't mention. Go to Zool Beer, zoolbeer.com to learn more. All right. So where do we stand with today's tough question?
So today's tough question.
I made my vote. I thought Heupel, if you want to reset it, go right ahead.
You say reset it as in like I'm going to
speak it. Use your mouth. Speak it.
Okay. Well, resetting it is a different thing. Okay. So what level of success do you think Josh Heupel will have at Tennessee? 30% of people saying, 35% saying Brian Kelly level, 30% saying Kirby Smart, 25% saying Jimbo Fisher, and 10% of people actually think he'll be like Nick Saban.
That's going to be a stretch. I'm just going to go ahead and say, if that's the case, I'll go ahead and tell you I did not see it coming. I think that's an incredible stretch. Alrighty, it's time for Message Board Bingo, one of my favorite parts of the show, and it's brought to you today by the Mattress Place. 22 years on Chapman Highway, Marine Corps veteran owned, A+ accredited member of the Better Business Bureau, over 225 5-star reviews on Google. Huge selection of the two-sided flippable mattresses like the old days. No gimmicks, 30 to 70% off each and every day. So are you ready for Message Board Bingo? Because I am excited, Amanda Lafrada, and I actually got 2 correct yesterday. That's not bad. Take it, maybe. One. I'll take 1. Message Board Bingo is now.
All right. I was dreaming about this team making a run into the playoffs this year, woke up and haven't been able to go back to bed. Man, I'm so ready for this weekend to get here. I guess I'll just drink coffee and wait for that yoga show with the hot chicks and downward dog to come on. LFGOOO, fellas. I'm starting to get that tingling sensation in my plums.
It's way too much. That could be almost any fan, couldn't it? I will go with Vanderbilt because their head coach says that's going to be the most dominant program in college football.
No, that would be consistent with the dumbest fan base in the world, and that's Auburn.
Shots fired at Auburn. I love it. All right.
Shots fired at Auburn. Auburn fires shots at themselves.
All right. 0-1.
I can't take all these posts that we've already lost the game before it's even played. Screw those dogs. I've seen them choke for years, and their quarterback sucks. Did we give up when the Nazis bombed Pearl Harbor? No. We win.
I love that line, by the way. You know what that's from?
No, I don't.
Animal House.
Okay.
Yeah. That's, yeah. It wasn't Nazis, by the way.
I know, it was Japan.
I will say that's Alabama. Because making fun, here's the reason I think so. Making fun of Georgia because they just lost the national championship.
That makes no sense. Why would somebody
taking a shot at their quarterback makes a lot of sense.
Okay, it's Oregon because they play Georgia. First game opener.
Boy, how fortunate are the Ducks that game is not in Athens? You can call it neutral site. That's going to be a lot of Georgia fans, but they're darn lucky or scheduling smart that they're not playing in Athens because it's going to be about 98 degrees with humidity of 110. And coming from Oregon to talk about an unfair advantage in September, that would be an unfair advantage. Okay. Boom.
All right. Let's just get Gruden. Gotta think if our coach doesn't pan out, Gruden is going to be sitting there ready to roll.
Can I stop? I think that's what it is. Is it Auburn?
Yes, it's Auburn.
Awesome.
I bet you cheated on that one.
I didn't. I swear I didn't because that actually would make some sense.
Auburn with Auburn.
Hates their head coach. And I touched base on this earlier. Can you imagine if John Gruden broke his silence? Can you imagine if he was the head coach of Tennessee and all those emails came out? He had used racist language and all that sort of stuff.
It wouldn't have come out if he was the head coach of Tennessee.
No, it would have easier actually, because there's a public record.
So.
No, it definitely would have, because there's a public records request. So you can, if he's sending a company email, which he did, he was that stupid. He used his Oakland Raiders email. So that actually took the lead. You wouldn't even.
This is a political move.
Oh,
Sorry.
no question.
It was a political move. So no one would have gone after him if he was at Tennessee, is what I'm saying.
Well, no one would have probably made a FOIA request for all of his emails. There would be no point. But if one person said, hey, you need to know that John Gruden is incredibly racist to a reporter, then that reporter might make the FOIA request. Then it's actually easier to get than it would be in a private company.
Well, I'm sure, but I think the NFL gave it willingly because
they definitely did. They leaked it.
Yeah, because it was a political.
Who was the only person associated with John Gruden? Who was the
Redskins person?
Right. There's a Washington football team. They want to get rid of Daniel Snyder. Talk about a political move. That's exactly.
That's the political move. They've been trying to get rid of him for years.
Vassy Lawn and Garden, man alive. It is worth the drive. You're going to love Vassy Lawn and Garden. Open 6 days a week, year round. And Vassy Lawn and Garden has all the financing right there. And they also have residential. They have the fantastic, big, huge mowers for residential and commercial mowers as well. So, man alive, it's worth the drive. Vassy Lawn and Garden, and their rates are absolutely incredible. They bring you this day in sports history right now.
This day in sports history. Putting things in perspective exclusively on Off the Hook Sports with Dave Hooker.
You're so old. When you were a kid, rainbows were black and white.
And Amanda LaFrada.
2 kids on the block just called. They wanted you as a backup dancer.
All righty, Amanda LaFrada. She's jiving, excited, fired up. Tell me about it. What happened this day in sports history? We get a little closer to football. Maybe we start to get a little nicer.
I don't know if they do or not, but in 1990, baseball outfielders Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey Jr. become the first father and son to play on the same team. At the Seattle Mariners, the pair hit back-to-back singles in the first inning and both scored.
How cool is that? Hit back-to-back singles with your dad or the son, either one.
Yeah, that would be really, really cool.
I think they hit a home run in the same year. I'm not 100% sure. Okay, what else we got this day in sports history?
Really not much. There's a gymnastics one and a chess champion.
A chess champion?
Yeah. In 1994, Pentium computer beats world chess champ Gary Kasparov.
Kasparov, I remember that. That was a big deal. That was Big Blue.
Okay. Well, they beat him. The computer did.
That was a big deal. He was very frustrated and ended up walking away and just saying, hey, this isn't for me. And he admitted it. No, the guy.
No, I'm saying, yes, it's not for anybody because he's playing against a computer.
But at the time, computers weren't smarter than people. They didn't do billions of calculations every single month. So at the time, it was a really big deal. Remember, it led off the evening news that he got beat by a computer. Little did we know that computers can do billions of calculations in like a millisecond. So, yeah, that's going to happen from time to time. You're going to see computers beat the chess champion. Are you a chess player? Have you ever been a chess player? Favorite board game is?
I don't have time to play board games. I have like 4 jobs.
What about favorite games?
Rummy.
Rummy. Gin rummy or non-alcoholic rummy?
No, just regular rummy, not gin rummy. And I like spades a lot. I love spades. I'll challenge anybody to spades game. Anyone.
You know what's strange is my wife's incredibly good at poker.
Yeah, I can play poker too. I enjoy poker.
Yeah, poker's fun. Really though, poker, all gambling games, once you kind of figure them out, kind of get a little bit boring after a while to me. I kind of went through blackjack and then I went through craps and I learned how to play it and I got to the point where I was 45%, but I was still losing. Blackjack's super simple.
I don't know who that is, David.
Blackjack's absolutely super
Yeah, he's telling me, in 1997, Eddie George runs for 216 yards on 35 carries and scores a touchdown as the Oilers, playing their first NFL game in Tennessee, beat Oakland 24-21 in overtime at the Liberty Bowl in Memphis.
It's a pretty good one.
Yeah, David just came in to show me that.
You forget that the Titans showed up and played their first year in Memphis. And that was a long time ago. That was absolute. That's when you wondered. That's the one time you wondered if the NFL had made a big mistake. I know the NFL's made mistakes, but like a monster mistake of allowing a franchise to move, that was a monstrous deal. Because they went to the Liberty Bowl, and yes, there were the promises. And now we look at Nashville and we think this huge cosmopolitan, metropolitan, awesome town. But back then, it was just a cool city. And when you thought, yeah, I mean, I love it. So when ultimately you see the Titans move to Nashville, it just cemented a lot of things. And I thought definitely helped out. But man, when they were back in the Liberty Bowl, that was just absolutely brutal. It was certainly tough to watch. So, as far as heading into the weekend, other than the Tennessee game, I'm certainly interested in the Georgia-Oregon game. What other games do you have your eyes on, either in the SEC or beyond? Take a little look at the schedule because tomorrow is going to be dominated by Tennessee and probably so Friday too.
Yeah, of course I am interested to see Alabama, Utah State. Also, Florida, Utah is a big one. I think that's going to be a big game.
Who do you like in that game?
Utah.
And I got to two. And you corrected me on the spread a couple weeks back. What was the spread on that again?
I think it was because you said it was Florida was favored 2, but they're not. Utah was favored 2 when we talked about it. I haven't looked lately as to what it is at the moment, but I would take Utah.
Yeah, and I do want to see that Georgia game. Yeah, it is an opportunity to scout out a lot of opponents for Tennessee fans. What do we learn about Georgia in Week 1 playing Oregon and potentially Bo Nix?
Well, we see how dominant their defense is, or not dominant. Yeah, their defense is not. I think they're going to struggle hard against Oregon because Oregon's always fast. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is; they're fast. They've ran this type of offense for a long time, longer than anyone in the SEC has. So they're going to be. I mean, I know Georgia's probably going to be bigger, and Oregon's not going to have a defense to stop anybody, dear God. But I just don't. I see Oregon scoring a lot on Georgia. I do. I just see them scoring a lot. And I know SEC, Pac-12, completely different. I get it. But I think we'll see how inexperienced Georgia's defense really is.
Utah is a 3-point favorite. You're right. I had that backwards. I think it was 2.5 when we first talked about it. We would have never thought that would have been the case a few years ago, but now Utah is clearly the better program, at least for now. I don't know about long term, but this year, what would that mean for Florida if they were to lose the opener at home to Utah? I mean, for learned fans, sorry, Florida fans, you're all not learned, but you know that Utah is good. Amanda knows that Utah is good. I know that Utah is good. But for some people that walk into a stadium, they look at Utah and they think that's not even the Big Ten. That's not the SEC. That's not. There's some school out there. How do you think their fan base would respond to
that? I mean, honestly, I think, and I don't know how good Utah's going to be. I'm always wary of these teams that they just pull randomly out of, the Midwest to here we are. I'm very weary of that, but I think Florida is very bad. I think they're not going to be good at all. And I think if Utah comes in there and takes care of business against Florida, then that's just setting Florida season up for failure. I mean, it really is. It's just you drop that first game, it's not good for you going forward. It's just not.
What happens if Tennessee? Now, I think some people expect the Pitt game just to be a win. That they're better up front on both sides of the ball. I don't think that's a guaranteed win. I think Tennessee wins. They're way better at the skill positions. But if Tennessee beats Pitt, and that's not a given, and Florida loses to Utah, what kind of fan base is Tennessee going to be heading into that Florida game? We've seen this before where Tennessee has gotten a little overexcited about Florida and some people let them down over the years. What's it going to be like if that scenario plays out?
I don't think we've seen and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we've seen Florida start off their season playing someone like this. Like this dynamic. And so if they drop, this is going to be surprising if Florida pulls this out. I mean, if they pull out the spread, I mean, if they only lose by 3, that will surprise me. But if that's the case, Tennessee fans, I mean, I don't see how Tennessee loses to Florida this season. I really don't. In the past, it's been Florida's had cupcake opponents, so you really didn't see how they fared against anybody big that first, week or two. But then they get to Tennessee, and that was really their first, head-to-head, down and dirty battle. So you didn't know what to expect. Florida drops this game against Utah and drops it big, then I think Tennessee fans are going to be very, very much, I don't know how you put this, confident. They're going to have a lot of confidence going forward, and I don't blame them. Now, if Tennessee drops the game against Pitt, I know you say it's not a guaranteed win or people think they're going in to guarantee. It better be. It better be. They've lost their dynamic wide receiver. They've lost their quarterback that's probably won in, 20 years at Pitt, maybe. And they're lacking on so many positions that they're trying to fill. So if Tennessee doesn't win against Pitt, you got problems. You got reasons to worry.
See, I think Tennessee could lose to Pitt, still be a very good football.
I don't think so.
Just looking at Pitt recently, like in the last couple of days, I just think that it's not the easiest victory on the schedule. And I think some people have it lumped together with the Akrons and the Ball States. It ain't that. I mean, it is a challenge. I don't think it's a guaranteed win by any stretch of the imagination. But Florida, you have to remember, has Kentucky the week after the Open. So that's
right.
They could be 0-2 before they play South Florida.
And then they have USF.
Yes.
After that, right. So what I'm saying is if they drop that Utah game, then that's gonna be big for them, because I guarantee if they drop that Utah game, they drop Kentucky too.
Kentucky's a good football team too. Now that is in Gainesville. I'm sorry.
I said, I know. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, and now it's in Gainesville, so that helps Florida's chances. But and that is the heat. Goodness knows, I've experienced that in September. Just sitting there, much less walking to and from the stadium. But it's a whole different level, when you're playing. And I don't know how you simulate that heat going from Kentucky, the mountains of Kentucky, to the swamp of Florida. That to me is going to be a real challenge. All right, so coming up tomorrow, we're very excited. We will have a complete pregame show. We're going to have Coach Lance on with us. We're also going to be visited by another special guest who I'm not going to share quite yet. But on Friday, we'll have a complete wrap-up show. We'll have Jonathan Crompton will join us. Josh Heupel will join us from Sports Animal. So we'll have your thoughts on the game that's going to be Thursday night. But first, we got one more show that we will hit you up with on tomorrow. Looking forward to that. So we will get the Coach Lance thing playing as well. But as far as Tennessee and Tennessee fans, I think you have every reason to be optimistic. One day away, getting very close. For Amanda LaPrada, I'm Dave Hooker. Have a fantastic day, everyone. This is the presentation of Off the Hook.